Welcome to the Greenroom with Claude and Justin. We're just about to start podcast 96, and we've been discussing what have we been talking about? Lamenting the cabin again, and now we're talking about how losses, some points where Lost failed to sort of convince us what the answer was, particularly when something like the final answer they give is not the correct. You know, and you had your example of what Dogan says. Yeah.
About the sickness.
About the sickness, and the encyclopedia says, well, that was just his interpretation. And well, this is season 6. Why aren't we getting the real answers here? The final answers that are correct. Or I should say, why aren't the final answers correct?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I just, I sort of tied that into, the overall season 6 plot about how the world's going to end or something if the Man in Black leaves the island. And, I think a lot of people didn't really buy it. And, I bought into it because I thought they wanted us to. But I have to admit that, it's not that convincing, what they actually say. And it just, to go back to, but that's season 6. I mean, if you go back to season 1, when we talked about Solitary, we talked about how Rousseau has all these lines of dialogue about the others, the sickness, the whispers. They're all wrong, right? She's just way off base about everything. But and that's kind of frustrating, that suggests retconning happened, but at least it's season 1. At least it's episode 9.
Yeah, and of course it's her interpretation of things, and it does, and she is crazy. So
yes,
she has cover for what she says. I think more so than sort of other areas. But yeah, I mean it's a total example of if it was season 6 that she's saying that stuff, it would be even crazier.
Yes. If they started telling us that the others were the whispers and they were carrying the sickness, and she never saw one of them, and it would just be like, what?
Yeah, it's like Michael showing up as a ghost and saying the whispers are the others. What?
Yeah.
But he's wrong.
Right.
Oh no.
Because we just heard the whispers before he appeared.
Yeah, and there's no others around.
Yeah, it's really? Are you sure that's not you? Well,
what? Am I that loud? You can hear me?
Yeah, so I don't know. In terms of the development of the story, to me, it's more forgivable the farther back you go, however wrong they are about things. But there's just, to me, season 6 is overloaded with situations where I feel like they weren't specific enough or they were wrong.
Yeah.
And it's at that point, I feel like there's not really a good excuse for that. I mean, they should know what their story is by that point.
Audience, well, I think they seem to have decided that they were just going to sort of continue, their brand of storytelling, where mysteries have a little bit of explanation here and there, some of it's wrong, versus what I think I expected, at least, and maybe audiences expected, was sort of, okay, this is the last season. Now your answer, we finally get to Oz and we can meet the wizard, and we pull back the curtain, and now we get to see what the answers are. We get to see what was this all about.
Yeah.
And I guess they didn't really want to do that. They just, they did that a little bit, but they still left it, a lot of things unanswered. And I think, considering how much of a roller coaster the show was, and how much the Lost audiences had to go through for the show. I mean, come on, guys, season 4, seriously? Season 5? I mean, you're still watching this show, and they're time traveling. I think by the season 6, at the end, you expect to really get some payoff for going through that. And not that it wasn't fun to go through, but it's still, crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel like they asked a lot of audiences, and they delivered a lot to audiences, but at the same time, it's it's just weird to not have the final answers you give at the end sort of be ones people can take on faith and say, okay, well, that's how we should view everything else, retrospectively.
Right.
And some stuff you can do that with, but some stuff you can't. You can't take Dogen's answer for it and apply it because it's wrong.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, so I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is like a flaw in my brain, but like when I watch a story with crazy elements like what you're mentioning, as we were discussing, cabins jumping around all over the place, ghosts appearing, mysterious whispering, and then, of course, time traveling, moving islands, whatever else, crazy stuff.
For starters.
Smoke monsters, plenty more stuff.
Light caves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when you have all that, it makes me believe that, there has to be some grand plan for all that. There has to be some larger explanation that ties together all this insanity, where it all click into place, and I'll say, "Oh, I see why all that happened." That was part of this story unfolding, and I see how it all fits together.
Yeah, I think you expect with a mystery story, you expect, Hercule Poirot or Sherlock Holmes, you expect to get the scene at the end where the detective says this is how it all went down, And I think that's what you don't get on Lost. In Lost, you get the detective standing up and telling everybody, this is what I think happened. I don't have all the answers, because I'm very subjective. That's just, I think, I think it was a conscious decision on their part to do that,
I can only imagine a Sherlock Holmes story where he gives his explanation at the end, and you have to question whether or not he's right.
Yeah, and that's the kind of mystery we have with Lost. And again, that's by design, right? Because what they have convinced us of is that everybody knows things from hearing it from other people.
Yeah.
Even as far back as Mother. So it's like that is the underlying, premise of the part of the show, fabric that is not, it's not like a regular, sort of, Sherlock Holmes story where you can't count on, because obviously it's about sort of, especially with Sherlock Holmes, sort of very scientific approach to stuff where you do have definite answers. It's not maybe the chloroform, no, he did that, It's not maybe he killed her upstairs yesterday. It's like, no, he definitely did that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I don't doubt it. Like in stories like that, I'm never thinking, what if he's wrong?
Yeah.
What if that's just his interpretation of what happened, but he doesn't know X, Y, or Z, so...
Yeah, it's like the new Sherlock Holmes movie. It's like, you get to the end, and Blackwood is like, Holmes, I didn't do anything. And Holmes is like, no, but I think you did. And he's like, no, I've been this whole time trying to convince you I'm innocent. Like, if somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though Holmes convinced us all this time of, what he's doing. Yeah, when you're watching that kind of a detective story or mystery, you're not questioning your hero's perspective, like that.
Right? Yeah, I can just imagine a scene with Lord. I didn't do anything to you.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
And that's and then the audience feels like it's crazy. Like, what? You're the villain. Why aren't you doing anything?
It's like at the end of The Stand or something, and the guy is like, "Why is everyone after? Like, what? I just, I didn't want to bring about the end of the world. What's on here?"
Yeah, I just want a little friendly fun. I don't understand.
Yeah, no.
Las Vegas, it's a party city.
Yeah, I think that's again, the show is called Lost. So it's like you can't say you weren't warned. I think they really, I think you can make an argument that they really put the audience in that sort of unanswerable mystery perspective in the way that they told the story. Just like if you were on the island, you would not be able to figure everything out. No matter if you talk to Jacob himself, you would be wrong about some things because Jacob only knows things from, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, in a way, it's sort of genius, but you know, if you look at it from that perspective, but of how thoroughly it works, that we don't get these definitive answers because the characters don't either, so we don't. But again, it becomes unsatisfying, sort of in just a matter-of-fact way, when you don't get answers that you hope to get, and you know, and you expect. You know, we think we're watching Sherlock Holmes, but it turns out we're not.
Right. And it's, you know, it's unsatisfying on the level of, you know, what you expect from storytelling. Mm-hmm. Like, when you have setups and mysteries, you know, generally you get answers.
Yeah.
You know, just, I mean, not everybody does that, but, like, that's sort of the goal. That's the reason you introduce the mystery.
If Lost was like Alias or something, you know, if Lost was, you know, set sort of in a world that wasn't mystical and unanswerable because it's mystical, like, you just, you know, I think it's just an intractable problem that we're not going to get a definite answer to the light cave. They're not going to have Dan come in with his tools and analyze the light cave and tell us what the spectrograph readout is and tell us, you know, give us scientific info on the light cave. You know, that's just not the show we're watching. And it's frustrating because that's what we want.
Yeah.
Obviously that's an extreme example, but it's just like I feel like that's just part of the show, that it has this mystical element that's not solvable. They can't figure out what Smokey isn't. You know, Smokey, as much as I want it to be, it's not nano machines. You know, they're not it's not nanobots. You know, it's this thing that all you can call it is evil incarnate.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know,
maybe.
Whatever, and you know, and if so, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So it's that, and that becomes unsatisfying because you can't get specific, right? So
yeah.
It's just these abstract. It becomes this abstract, subjective thing instead of this specific, objective thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, pretty arbitrary too. Like if you don't specify anything about what the smoke monster is, then it's like, why is it a cloud of smoke that can manifest as dead people and can scan people's minds? Like, that just seems very arbitrary when you give no reason for it, you know, for why it exists. Like, why those powers? Why? I don't, you know, it doesn't, like, I don't see any reason why that would be true.
Yeah.
You know, but then I flip back and I think, well, there's other stories where they have, like, supernatural, like, entities that have powers, and I'm not compelled to sit there and say, well, why can they do that? Why do they have that ability? Explain it to me on some scientific level. I don't need that from other things for some reason. But Lost, it's like the ultimate bait and switch. Like, it makes me want things that it has no intention of delivering.
Yeah, and I think it goes to the level of being unfair to expect. You know, that's what we were talking about before we started recording, was some things, you know, some answers that they give, like, would be totally good enough on other shows. You know, it'd be like a character says, "This is why I did that," and we just totally believe it on any other show, and we wouldn't question it. But a character says, "No, this is why I did that" on Lost, and we go, I don't know that's why you did that. That's what you just said. But, you know, we'll see. You know, other motives, or maybe
that was the birth of New Year's Justin. I got so exhausted with that process. I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to believe everybody until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can't take this. Well, what if they're lying? What if they're misdirecting? Blah, blah. Like, what if they don't even know? What if they think they're telling the truth, but they're wrong? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
There's so many possibilities. It's just, it kills me. And I guess also, like, you know, if you look at the characters' journeys, for the most part, I feel like they did tell stories there. They do know how to provide closure to things. Yeah. You know, and also, like, because those characters had, you know, many interactions with all this insanity, like, I'm just not ready to close the book on those characters when they don't have a clue what they were dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, how are you just going to walk into the light and, like, be satisfied with your life when...
See, that's the problem. I think that's where Lost fails for me for the end. Not that I don't love the end, you know, it's great, but I'm just saying, like, it becomes less satisfying because of that specific moment where we follow these characters, like the paradigm I was setting up, where the characters have a subjective view of the island, so we have a subjective view of the island and what we'll find out about this story, and we never will get these concrete answers, and that's how Lost presented itself to the very end. But the problem becomes when the characters get to walk off into the light, but we don't get to do that.
Right.
We don't get to go off to this place where it doesn't matter what the answers are. We're left still wondering. And, and I feel like, we're happy that the characters are happy, but we didn't get any answers. But they don't care they didn't get answers because they're dead and they're going off to the afterlife.
Right.
But we still care because that's all we're left with are these unanswered questions, So I feel like that's the gamble that they took,
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, if you're invested emotionally in the characters, you'll get something satisfying out of the end, and I did.
I did too. Yeah.
But if you were invested in finding out answers, you don't get that because the characters don't get it.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know, I guess they found out that there's an afterlife. I guess that's kind of cool.
Which wasn't a mystery, right? Like, nobody was questioning that for 6 seasons. Nobody was like, I wonder if there is an afterlife after all of this. Like, really?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That didn't seem like a mystery that mattered.
No.
But that's the one that got solved, and the answer is yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, yeah. Where's my tip?
Sorry, go ahead.
You said, where's my tip? You're welcome. Tip me, please.
They want a tip. God, of course they do.
Of course they want a tip.
Yeah, it's just that I feel like, to me, like, when I get into characters, I sort of identify with them on a level. But, I can't quite separate myself from them, and I just feel like if I were them, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know what it's like to wake up in the afterlife, but I feel like I would
Why
still...
not?
I feel like I wouldn't just say, smoke monsters, time travel, moving on, whatever. I'm done. I'm going into the light, satisfied that I lived a life that was worth living.
I'm pretty much convinced that if I woke up in the afterlife and I sort of knew I was dead, just realized, like, I think I might be, just waking up in a new plane of existence, I think might be enough to make me not care about the old one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I could be convinced of that. That might be so shocking that I go, what is this new thing I'm in? It might be more interesting than where I just was. But
yeah.
But it all depends on, but of course the way they present the afterlife is you're not, if you're still harping about the past, you're not ready to move on anyway.
Right. And you get stuck in a world that's pretty much just like the regular life.
So it's got that sort of, reincarnation aspect where it's like if you're not ready, even if you die and you're not ready to move on, you just kind of sort of keep living until you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nice. That sounds like a very fun, easy afterlife.
It is. I think that's what they're going for there.
You get a second chance.
And for what it's worth, I think that pretty much works.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Flash Sideways, like, I wish it had tied into the larger story more, but, like, as a self-contained, like, thing, I think they did more or less tell me everything I might like to know about it.
I totally agree with you, but I just want to say this. I wish the Flash Sideways were just like a webisode or something. I wish, like, they took what, this time that they took telling that story, I wish was something else that related to the main plot. And made just like a web series of the Flash Sideways or something. Like, it's great, but, I'd rather have something else there that, like you're saying, with actually tying in. That's where they should have been answering questions, I think.
Yeah.
Finding out, okay, what is this island really? Is this a spaceship or not, damn it?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I liked aspects of the Flash Sideways, but I think probably I would have preferred to have, because really, see, I guess that's the basic gamble. Like, for them, in the end, they were saying, we're focused on the characters, so The Flash Sideways is more about the characters, and they're not going to sacrifice that for, stuff about the island and answering its mysteries.
Yeah.
But they could have. I mean, all that time they spent on The Flash Sideways, they could have answered a lot.
Yeah, I like The Flash Sideways, but it just seems like, in retrospect, it just seems like that would have been a great, DVD feature, on the bonus disc.
See, I'm torn about that because I feel like if, from their point of view, I feel like for the ending they wanted to go for, it helped that they stuck us there for a whole season.
Mhm.
I feel like it had more impact at the end because we spent a whole season there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't have the ending without The Flash Sideways,
Yeah. So you'd have to sort of write a different ending for the show.
Yeah, totally.
If you take The Flash Sideways out, and I don't
I'm
know.
up for that. Just a theory.
Yeah. I could live with that too, I guess. Webisodes seem about right.
It's like a B-side. It's like a great B-side.
Yeah.
It's like it's cool, but you didn't need to put that on the album.
Right. Right. Yeah. I see what you mean.
But all right, you ready to go to the podcast?
I think so.
Get some special going here.
Yes.
All right.
Can't wait to find out who's special.
I'm going to guess everyone.
I hope not.
All right, so thanks for joining us at the Green Room.
Yeah, thank you. Pleasure as always.
Welcome to the Lost Lowdown podcast number 96 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We're back continuing our commentary series with episode 114 special. So this is a Walt and Michael episode, and, as we talked about before, I think Walt and Michael kind of have sort of the least satisfying story conclusion out of, any of the sort of season one characters.
Yeah.
The OG characters. And, mostly, the biggest reason, of course, is they didn't get to go to the afterlife with everybody else.
Yes.
And various problems. But, this episode just reminds me that this is sort of the start of Walt being interesting and the story really becoming, he's been interesting before, but, really up in the ante on him being interesting.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's so part of, the end of season one when he gets taken and
right.
how that goes in season two. So this is the beginning of all that. It's like, oh, wow. Knowing where it ends for these guys, it's really, really to be sort of on that beginning part of the journey.
Yeah, it is. It is. When there was hope, and it seemed like Walt was significant in terms of the larger story.
Mm-hmm. Someone might have even painted a picture of him on a hatch wall somewhere. One could dream.
Indeed. Yes. One could even have thought that he might have been the package on the submarine in season 6.
Mm-hmm.
In a hopeful flight of fancy that somehow it would all tie together.
That ended in the dismal reality we're so familiar with.
Yes. I agree, of course. I think, in a way, Boone and Shannon have less satisfying stories, but on the other hand...
They never got as interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the reverse of that. They never got much good stuff, so it's not really such a letdown when they just kind of die.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the thing, though. I definitely agree with you, but it's Boone got a pretty good death.
He did get a good death.
He got a pretty good dramatic death. And Shannon, she had an okay death.
It was at least half interesting.
Yeah, but it's
tied into Walt too.
Walt still gets to be around to the very end of the show. He's in the epilogue. Congratulations.
Yes.
That's no small feat, but but Michael, Michael gets a pretty bad end.
Yeah.
not only just getting blowed up on the on the freighter after all that, headache with the island and stuff, but
after possibly just being taunted by the evil incarnate main villain of the show.
And then
not really a hero's death.
Then getting stuck on the island as a ghost.
Yes.
To wander for eternity whispering. I mean, that's a hell on earth.
It is.
Whisper all the time.
Yes.
No one will hear you.
It is, and it just,
But yeah.
It raises all these questions about the morality of their idea of the afterlife, and the way they condemn Michael more than other characters who I would say were worse, morally, in a pretty clear objective sense, like Ben and Saeed and Kimi, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like they didn't move on or any. Well, Saeed did, but nonetheless, it was certainly implied that they could eventually once they worked out their issues. Michael seems to get no such option. He seems to just be eternally unable to move on and stuck whispering on the island, which really sucks. Now, the epilogue did suggest that somehow, he could eventually get out of that, and I do appreciate that they took the time to do that.
I mean, that would have been so sad if they didn't do that for him. That, I mean, that is in the epilogue, but it's, but at least it's there.
Yeah,
but,
I kind of wish it had been in the show.
Yeah, it's a little more real if it's in the show proper. But
exactly.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, I it's very frustrating when I remember, Harold Perry, venting his frustrations about his character.
Yeah.
When the show was on, and
Season 4.
For him to come back with Kevin Johnson and it's kind of like, you brought Michael back for that, like he didn't get to do anything actually worthy of anything, he just sort of he got tormented again. They just brought him back to torture him.
Right.
And then, so I don't know. I think his character got some strangely unfair treatment in a way that I don't really understand. Considering how he's a fairly sympathetic character.
Yeah.
This dad who was estranged from his son through no fault of his own.
Yeah.
He didn't leave them. She left him, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess maybe, what was he not, maybe he didn't have a job or something, or there was some drama.
That's what she said.
We're going to get into that. But it's not like he specifically left Walt on purpose.
Not at all.
And so it's an inherently sympathetic situation of him trapped on this island with his son, trying to reconnect, trying to figure out how to be a father in this crazy, dangerous situation and all that stuff. And he's not doing a good job. I mean, as we pointed out, he's running away from Walt. That. He's running away from Walt almost at every turn for some weird reason. But I don't understand why his being manipulated by Ben basically into into a situation where he shoots Anna Lucia and Libby, that just damns him as a character. He never recovers from that. He's never given any. I mean, Ben killed Locke.
Right.
There is no higher grievance. I don't know. There's no higher grievance in the show. I don't think you can come up with, right?
Yeah.
As a sort of bad thing you can do. I mean, you have your main antagonist kill one of your main two protagonists.
Yes.
And that's it. That's the highest, punishable crime. And Ben did it, and he still wound up there.
Yeah.
And so I think it's weird for Michael to get what is something like a misdemeanor, I think.
Absolutely. It's unequal distribution of punishment.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
because, even Ben had the option. Ben just chose not to move on because he decided he wasn't ready, but he could, everyone.
It would have been very weird. I mean, I think in the moment it would have been weird in the moment, but I think it would have played okay in the moment, but it's definitely weird in hindsight if Ben would have walked into the light with all those.
Yeah.
Much hell as he caused each and every one of them.
Absolutely.
Directly.
I think that's why they didn't do it.
Yeah, but it just, but like you're saying, like he sort of had the option to.
Hurley's like, hey, you coming in? Like, there's no assumption. Like, you're verboten here.
Yeah. Yeah, and they do a sort of a future retcon. I don't know what you call that, but they lay the groundwork for some sort of retcon to say that Ben was great when he was helping Hurley.
Right.
So all this goodwill.
All the stuff we didn't get to see.
Off-screen, he collects all these off-screen brownie points,
right.
that we get to see. So it's like, oh, okay, that we're supposed to sort of buy into that a bit more. That
yes.
Not only what we see, what he does at the end or whatever, but he was great. He was a great sidekick. And,
yeah.
So Hurley's like ready to be pals with him now. I mean, this is the guy Hurley went to jail to hide from.
Right. Forgot about that. That's true.
Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that.
That's true. He made a whole, oh, God, that was a whole thing.
The whole thing. It was a thing and a half.
It was.
Jerry, I saw it was a thing and a half.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
it's just weird. I don't understand why Michael got that treatment.
It's really weird.
You could say something like, okay, maybe you can even say something like, Son and Jen get sort of a cruel ending, but at least it's in the sort of realm of a sort of tragic romance.
It's absolutely, it's definitely romantic because they're together.
Mm-hmm.
At least,
Yeah, yeah.
They got to see each other again before they both died, and then they got to wake up in the afterlife and see each other again.
Yeah, Michael's version of that would have been Son and Jen dying in that fence right when they meet. Like when the fence is on and they go to embrace and they both die. That's the kind of thing Michael got. But
it is.
Analogous,
They wouldn't do that to Son and Jen.
Yeah.
And it does seem to just, for whatever reason, it was shocking. Two for the Road was our first podcast, and I remember at the time being kind of blown away, thinking like Michael was evil or something, when he suddenly just starts shooting people. I think the others programmed him, or something like crazy is going on with him.
Yeah.
But then they pretty quickly tell you what the real story is, and just as with, say, Kate's backstory or something, when you know what's going on, it's like, that doesn't make it forgivable, but should he be damned for eternity?
He didn't get that. I feel like he didn't get that redemption Kate got and everyone else got for their bad backstories. Like he was just, and maybe because he did it on the island, or he did it to them on the island, and there wasn't something in his past. Because none of that has to do with his past, obviously.
Right.
It wasn't like he was a bad person, and it's like, is he or isn't he bad, or something.
No,
like
he wasn't
that.
a bad person at all. He just got trapped in this situation, because Walt was special. Going back to this episode. Mm-hmm. And because the others had, some weird interest in him.
Yeah.
That's not Michael's fault.
Who else? What other Losties got killed by Losties?
Well, Ana Lucia killed Shannon, and she certainly made it to the afterlife at least.
Yeah, she did make it.
And let's see.
She killed Shannon on accident. So
it was an accident.
It's like Michael killing Libby.
It is. Yeah.
It's one of those. That's
It is one of those.
Moving violation.
Right. Who else killed Lofty characters? Am I forgetting stuff? I can't think of anything else.
I can't really think of anything else either. I'm just wondering if that's just a bad offense. Like he killed a Lofty.
Well, Ben killed Locke.
Well, yeah, of course, but Ben, but that's what we're saying. Ben is a special case,
right?
Where he's Michael Emerson and they love him.
True.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to make sure there's no other characters like Michael or Ben who killed a Losty, but got redeemed for it, or So I can't think of any other Losties who got killed by Losties.
Yeah, I can't either. It didn't happen that much.
Yeah. So I'm just saying maybe that's it in their view. Like that was,
Yeah, no, I think it is.
Yeah.
It was like a special. It was like a like a crime against your family or something.
Yeah, but he could have shot somebody else, would have been fine. But shooting Anna Lucia in cold blood.
He could have been a hitman, killing people as his job.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I question that. I mean, I don't see. I mean, first of all, like I barely buy that Anna Lucia and Libby are even part of that family. Mm-hmm. Like that's a tough sell to me. And so like I want to count them, as much as like any other like kind of almost red shirt characters. Like they didn't have a great. I mean, they barely showed up in season 2. They barely hung around with in the main camp for 10 episodes maybe. Mm-hmm. Like that's but then like Dan and Charlotte and Miles, like Miles spent 3 years with Sawyer and Jen and Juliet. He doesn't get to be a part of the family, like
totally.
That doesn't make any sense.
Deputy. He and Sawyer were best buds.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like he's got to have some kind of bond with that crew that lived in the 70s, and like why doesn't that count? Yeah. Whereas this Libby, like God, kills me.
Libby.
I just can't get over it. I mean, I feel like they just wanted someone, Hurley to have someone, and that's the only romantic interest they ever gave him. But like Libby as Libby, I don't think you can justify it if you don't put Hurley in there.
Hey, she gave Desmond that boat.
Oh God, did she? Yeah,
that counts.
She did.
For anything.
If you want.
But I agree with you. It's weird it's weird who got to go in the end. And I think it's just unfair for Michael, and even the afterlife is unfair.
Yeah. Yeah, and after like such a depressing life, that's the cool thing for the afterlife for some of the characters who did have like depressing lives, like Locke.
They got to have cool afterlives, but Michael doesn't get that.
Exactly. Like Locke's story is really tragic and depressing, but God, at least he didn't get damned to be a whisper on the island forever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Locke got killed in cold blood after wanting to kill himself 2 minutes before, and he's still, and his legacy is forever tarnished by Evil Incarnate.
Absolutely, yeah. We got a whole season and a half of Evil Incarnate looking like him. And
trying to kill his friends for the whole season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he definitely got shit upon a lot, but not as much as Michael.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even really a contest. So it is weird, because I felt like, one of the senses I got at the end was kind of closing the door on the stuff they introduced in season 1. I feel like that was a big thing about the end. And I mean, Michael is a pretty serious part of season 1.
Yeah.
That I feel like they just didn't, he didn't even get to be in the last episode.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's really disappointing. And watching all this stuff, it's, as with so many things where we know what the entire, outgrowth of it is, it's, it's kind of weird to watch.
Mhm. Well, let's watch it.
All right.
All right. So, cue your players. We're going to watch special here.
All right. Okay. I am ready.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. Previously I'm lost.
This makes Charlie look bad.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to use that shot again. That was gold right there. Who's they, Charlie? I thought you didn't remember anything.
Mm-hmm. The royal they.
Of course. I forgot.
Walt, I want to ignore you some more. It's our episode.
This seems like a sketch.
It's a sketch. Who's on first?
Where's the bags? Where's my boy?
As usual, I tell him to stay close. I'm a good father.
Golf. Really?
Okay. Right here in this bed.
Right in this spot.
Oh. Hurley being insightful.
Mm-hmm.
It's that obvious. Hurley can see it.
That is definitely supposed to be true, I think.
Yeah, totally. But it's really another way of saying he hates having the responsibility of a young child in this dangerous island.
Exactly.
I would hate that too.
Oh, so would I. It's a pain. It's hard enough just to live there.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the last episode where Walt was like all talking to people all over the place and instigating things.
Yeah.
Like it gives the impression that he's just, I don't know.
Just a minute and.
Yeah. Like he's up to some kind of mischief.
Mhm. Look at the flashback. I have a hat on.
And there's something weird about his facial hair.
Mhm.
Does he normally have a beard? What is he missing?
Let me see. I gotta see him again. Yeah, I think he's shaved, clean shaved, right?
Yeah.
He has a beard, I think.
He usually has a beard? Okay.
Because I'm gonna take him later.
Wow.
It's like, is she planning that at this point? I mean, you could maybe she is.
It does seem like she's not ready to commit.
Mm-hmm.
At least. I don't know.
Oh, this is
That's
iconic.
what he's doing.
This is the iconic scene right here.
Yep.
It's Walt and Locke playing backgammon, and then it's this scene.
Yep. Oh, Locke, you're so wise.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent smells something?
Science. You too, Vincent. Get out of here.
He seems guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the whole time.
You could have stopped it. I love that.
Nice try, Boone.
Mhm. Like him. That was like a weird time paradox. He caused the thing he tried to prevent.
So what, he's a good knife thrower?
You know what they're going for here. You know it's more than that. They just don't pay it off.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What's my takeaway from this? I mean, I insinuated a lot, but like, he just threw a knife into a tree.
Mm-hmm. Well, his whole thing about, picturing it in your mind's eye and it becoming real, and who's to say it's not real, I think ties to this idea of Walt manifesting reality.
Oh, you're totally right. That's what they're going to show with the polar bear.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they want to go. It's just they never really pay that off because the actor grows too quickly.
Right.
You can only do international law in a different country. Otherwise,
why they call it international law.
Exactly. Look at that painting back there.
I know, that's such a Jack Bender painting.
Mm-hmm.
Or, conspiracy, Jacob painted it or something.
Exactly.
Although I guess actually, in story, Michael painted it, since he's the artist. That's what this flashback's like.
I'm down with counseling. I should have seen this coming.
When you wanted his last name to be Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
This does seem like she planned it.
I honestly feel like she did. I mean, I don't. Her reasoning wasn't I'm leaving because I don't love you. It was you're not working.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's necessarily trying to really be vindictive, but I think she needs some time. And no, I mean, I think she didn't really want to marry Michael and raise a kid with him, but she wanted it his kid, but she didn't want to be with him.
Yeah, just because she had that answer, like, ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're not married, remember?
Mhm. Yeah, he's got a little goatee right now.
Yeah. Somehow I don't notice it.
Mhm.
Until it's not there.
You can hope he's pretending to sleep and be listening to you. So that should be easy for me to do. It's weird.
That's not the point he's making, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's not the point he's making, but...
He won't. Don't worry.
Don't worry, you'll kill to prevent that.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Not the French woman in coordinates. Yeah, we cracked that code, Shannon. What are you talking about? That was helpful.
Wow, I have no idea what they're talking about.
I love how he overlapped those three triangles, but it's like it seems like you can kind of do that with anything, and I don't know what you get out of that. It just seems kind of arbitrary that you could just do that. This is the way triangles work.
Yeah.
So, are you suggesting something? Great line.
This is the origin of the raft.
Mhm. Uh-oh. And all the blue tarps we can handle. You know, if Jack had said, "Let's build a raft to get off the island," everyone would have helped him.
So true.
I'm just saying. if that was Jack's plan, I think I don't know why Jack didn't. He didn't actually say he was against it, right? He didn't actually say anything.
No, he just kind of stayed silent.
Yeah, but because I don't think Jack should be against that as a plan. Like he should have thought of that before, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's a little too content himself.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, I'm smarter than you.
Ouch. Yeah, like he sort of tried.
That's bad parenting. He just he didn't stay engaged in what Walt was engaged in and try to bond with him. He was like, "You're not listening to me, so I'm gonna snap you out of it."
Exactly.
Just make you mad at me.
Yeah. Make things worse.
It's like every time I talk to you, you're pulling further and further away from me.
Now we're on the phone.
Yeah, next time I call you, you're going to be in outer space. Michael, I'm on Mars. I'm sorry. I wanted to practice interstellar law. You know I've always wanted to practice interstellar law. I don't get hit by a car.
That is so weird. I've always thought that was a weird thing.
Wasn't that Jacob?
Yeah, that really seems like Jacob should be somewhere around.
Oh, he should have asked him what the time was.
Mhm.
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what I'm building.
Wow, it's a mystery.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the problem. Like, he doesn't... He's like, maybe.
It's punishment where you didn't actually do anything wrong.
Yeah. Not a chore.
Yeah.
It's so funny coming off of that inhaler controversy. It's
Yeah.
so weird. Like, did you forget that happened? Pontus must be great hitters because he got stalked.
He really did. He was trying to save his dignity.
He, like, fractured his jaw.
Yeah. He's, like, missing half his teeth.
And England Pontus hit like a sledgehammer.
Oh, Michael.
Oh, Michael, yeah. I love how sometimes there's plenty of fruit to eat on the island, and sometimes there's not.
It depends.
Yeah. No.
Pass.
I saw you die, and I'm not beholden to you anymore.
I've moved on.
Yeah. Try it sometime. That is just one of the top 10 kid lines ever. That classic little kid. You got the boss of me. That's not a pencil.
That really doesn't look like a pencil. Do you know what a pencil is, Locke?
Nobody's seen my backstory yet, and they don't know if I'm a killer or not.
Yeah. I'm not buying it. I've seen it.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. Well, he pulled out all his aces. You got to say something, buddy. You know, this isn't your only fight you're going to have. Burn. Burn, Tommy, burn. That's so weird. That's just, I don't know. That's such a vindictive thing to do.
It is. Like, they're trapped on this island. Like, there's only so much entertainment around. And that's not even his to throw into the fire.
Yeah. It's almost, I guess, thematically it's trying to say he's not. It's weird because that was, you know, this whole thing is about their ability to bond over this art thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I guess you could look at that scene as saying Michael's going to not go that way and he's just going to do the domineering parenting thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to try to connect.
But it doesn't make sense why, though. I don't get why. When he sees an opportunity to get to know Walt better and share something they have in common, he burns it.
It kind of seemed like a reaction to Walt having his, rant at him, saying he's not his father and all that.
I love that. I usually love any time a movie or TV where somebody tells a joke and somebody goes, "That's dumb."
Yeah.
Great.
Now she's back.
She's back. Why? All you've done is hurt me. That was weird. Why would she say that? Wasn't she saying like don't call anymore?
Yeah.
So why she hasn't heard from Michael in 2 months? Isn't that a good thing for her?
You would think so.
I'm not buying her story. I'm not buying it. I need you to sign something.
Oh, you're right. That's why she's there. I think she's talking him up.
She is talking him up. Yeah.
That's what it is. She doesn't necessarily mean that.
She was waiting to hear from Michael those 2 months, so when he called, inevitably called, she could say, "I got something for you to sign."
Yeah, exactly.
And she didn't hear. That's why she grew worried. I mean, they're just writing her as a very sort of selfish person.
Absolutely.
A vindictive person. She's a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just such a contrast. Like, her life's going so great, and Michael's, like, out of work and stuck in a wheelchair, and, like, he's got, like, nothing going for him.
Yeah. He and Walt could have probably been friends. I mean, Locke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael and Locke, yeah. She's totally manipulating him with her memories.
Yeah.
This is like her closing statement. Way to deliver the news. Is he dead? Or did he fall off a cliff? Or did a smoke monster get him?
Yeah, it's a little vague, Curly. Helps with details.
Mm-hmm. What is he, invisible somehow?
Boone's like a bodyguard now.
What are they doing here? What are Lucky Boone doing?
He's like sitting there sharpening a knife.
And Boone is just watching him?
I think so. He's just entranced by Locke.
And they're not having sex with each other? I'm not sure I'm convinced. I don't know what's going on here. It's getting awkward. Before I bought it, I don't know what they're doing.
You know, they're just really platonically close. That's all.
It's not like they were like going to go work on the hatch. It's
no.
Like they were just sitting there.
Just sitting in the middle of the jungle. Locke sharpening a knife, Boone staring at him lovingly.
Yikes. Or something. I'm still pretty amazed how they just have nothing to do in terms of Claire. Like they're not looking for her. They're just totally inept. They can't. There's no. He's the only one who seems to really be upset about it.
Yeah.
It's just weird that it's just they're just not able to do anything till she just returns.
Yeah. They already did that episode, so.
Mhm.
I was frustrated with that when I originally watched this. I was like, I just feel like it should be more urgent.
Yeah. Especially since he was, and I don't know if anybody's really questioned the baby. Like she was in labor when last seen.
Yeah.
They should be thinking she's, had the baby and needs help and care, but they know she's safe.
Yeah. Wrestling?
Wrestling, jungle.
Uh-oh.
So much of what's making it creepy is just his reaction to it, you know?
Yeah.
Those slow looks.
Yeah. Panning around. What's Vincent trying to do? He dropped his collar. What's that supposed to mean?
Somebody can find it later.
Oh, okay.
Boring lawyer talk. If he's it's like Walt's having a conversation with Vincent. Telepathically.
In their minds.
Mm-hmm. Vincent's trying to help me, but he doesn't know this problem.
Oh, they're totally ignoring him, just like Michael.
Mm-hmm. I remember thinking Walt was making her sick.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of a horror movie.
Yeah, it is.
This is exactly how horror movies start.
Yep.
They just move in, you know, Walt's settling in, but he's having nightmares.
Yeah.
And the bird hits the window.
The problem is they never have the climax where things get really crazy.
Exactly, yeah. They just have the beginning and that's it.
Yeah, it's all set up.
I guess, like, Man in Black whistled to Vincent and, like, you know, and made Vincent, I don't know.
Could be. He probably could do that.
You just want a son. The good news is it's your own. The bad news is it's your own. Because every time I do, she takes something I love. The last time it was my dignity.
Now he does? Wipe that face.
Mm-hmm.
and we shall never specify.
Sheep.
Oh, there they go. You're right. You're so right. God damn it.
Anytime, somebody's going to, get lost and run and then something drops, I mean, it's usually so somebody can find it and go, this is where they last were.
Yeah.
That's a hallway and a half.
That is a really cavernous hallway.
It's like her love letters to Walt or something.
That's a weird shot.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's got that. Before we don't know it yet, but that's like the Dharma symbol.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're setting it up all along.
And I'm like, yeah, right, coincidence.
Mhm.
There's only so many octagons.
Yeah, right.
Whoa.
That's so crazy.
That was a weird transition. What was in the box?
We'll find out later.
Wow, that's so CGI.
Yeah.
Blu-ray is not kind to that bear.
Yeah, that looks pretty bad. Those shots look better.
Yeah.
Those shots look better, but that other one was awful.
Yeah.
It looks like Smokey pretending to be a bear.
Maybe it is. He could do that. Dead bear.
The one who gave you that Y chromosome.
You may know me from sending an Age of the Nation's ass.
Yeah, Brian. You have sympathy for the guy in that situation or whatever, but he's pretty awful. Him and Susan are pretty awful people.
Yeah.
Brian doesn't even show up to say goodbye to Walt and tell him what's happening. Like
Yeah, it's been like 9 years, and like that's what he gets.
That's what he gets. It's nothing.
Like, even if you didn't want the kid, even if you didn't like the kid, I feel like
you do at least say goodbye,
just
right?
Politeness,
like handshake, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Exchange emails, Facebook each other later, maybe.
Exactly.
Yes, he is. It is. No, it's exactly like that.
I doubt that, Michael. Based on what he said, I feel like you're lying.
He doesn't want to. Brian doesn't want any of you guys.
Oh, I forgot about that. He just, takes the dog.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Some kind of, bonus.
Mhm.
Stop showing it.
Is that a great plan? Let's both hop on a tree.
That does seem really bad.
This is Spock's plan. I love it.
Yeah.
Please, Locke, you've never done anything like this in your entire life. He hasn't. You know,
No.
He just hasn't.
No.
Yet he's climbing trees.
He barely started walking a few days ago.
Oh, now you want the knife.
What are they doing?
Use the force.
He really should.
Nice.
Yeah. So unless he's faking, that's probably not the smoke monster.
No, it shouldn't be.
Oh, they're gonna pull him out and then walk across the balance beam again?
Why not?
Okay.
You got a better idea?
I guess not.
I love these vines being used as rope. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's strong.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong. You know, and it's weird, of course, because why is this polar bear so hostile?
Yeah. I mean, I think the original idea is that Walt manifested this thing, and so it's drawn to him like the bird was.
Yeah. But I mean, why does that mean it's hot? It's evil or bad or
well?
killed him? I mean, you know.
Yeah. Are you going to say
if you want to go the conspiracy theory route, and if you want to say if you want to say that's Man in Black, it might make sense with the idea that he can read people's thoughts, and so if the polar bear is in Walt's mind, he can extract that and then use it.
That's true. It's a good point.
All that mind's eye stuff.
I'm pretty sure he appears as Walt later, so I think there's at least some kind of idea that he knew about Walt. Oh, here we go.
Look at pictures, and I burned the ones you really like. Just some other ones.
He's not gonna bring that up.
No.
Oh, okay. Man, that's what Desmond did too. It's the same scene, and then Widmore collects them and gives them to Desmond. Oh, that's why they had that scene. It ties it to that time.
Yeah. Back when fatherhood was a greeting card away.
Ouch.
And I hope he never reads this.
Because that's invasion of privacy.
It's invasion of privacy, and I won't stand for it. Jack's doing nothing.
He really is.
Day off. Wow.
He's just sitting there. really not.
That's weird. Charlie thinks Claire had a dream about the place somebody was going to take her.
Yeah. Which is weird because she kind of did. It just wasn't the Black Rock.
Yeah. But, I mean, why would that's weird to think somebody would have this clairvoyant dream.
It is weird. He shouldn't think that. I also think it's weird that Russo's math, like, has this weird thing where you put triangles together and it leads you to the Black Rock.
It was trying to hide. It's like she's trying to hide the, how you find it, but it's weird.
Why would
like I said, it looks cool, but
yeah.
I think maybe that's just an explanation of why they didn't find it sooner.
Oh,
they
okay.
Say, they say, he just put it all together.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Cliffhanger!
Wow. I didn't, they didn't resolve any of that. Wait a minute.
Hold on a second.
Where was Michael still in the tree with the poet? Wait, what happened there? I know they got Walt out.
No, they went back to the caves and he showed him the letters.
Oh, that's right. I was like, wait a minute. What happened to that story? I felt like I was waiting on some more story.
It kind of abruptly ended and they moved on to the cliffhanger.
Okay.
Which was like something weird with Claire and the Black Rock.
But wasn't Boone and Locke were they looking for Michael? Why were they out there? Were they looking for Walt? Why were they out there?
I don't know. They're doing what Boone and Locke do.
We can't say on the podcast.
In these episodes, they're doing it a lot.
Mhm. They're doing it in the daytime, in the nighttime. They do it when people are around. They do it by themselves. They're just doing it all the time. What is it? We'll never know.
I mean, I feel like supposedly they should be trying to open that hatch.
Yeah.
But they never actually show it, so it's kind of weird. Claire, I forgot about that. Like, Claire dreaming about the Black Rock, and, like, it won't let her leave. I mean, it seems like they don't even know what the Black Rock is yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you say Black Rock, I mean, you're thinking of a rock, that is black. Not
exactly. Yeah. It seems like I feel like, and like it's somehow like not letting her, like she's giving it a personality. Like that's just weird. Like she happens to dream something that is relevant to the island. Like
this is going. I think this ties directly into the first idea of the Others, where they were this indigenous people and they took her to this place that's a big black rock somewhere that, you get the sense it's this outdoor location, right?
Yeah.
Versus where she really is, which is in a bunker, somewhere, in a facility.
Medical station, yeah.
Medical station, yeah. So I think it's like, it kind of ties into this idea that she's just in a different part of the jungle somewhere, not in some man-made station. You never get that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think, but it does feel like, I remember we had a theory a long time ago that Claire had some kind of, like, psychic powers or something. Because there are, a couple of instances where it seems like she has some glimpse of the future.
Yeah, and then you have to wonder, what does that have to do with Man in Black and how the island influences dreams and all that stuff,
Right.
And yeah, Claire and clairvoyance. I mean,
Exactly. Yes.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's actually true. It might be more like what you're saying, that actually she's being sent the dreams and it's not her, per se, that's like causing them.
I don't even get it. I mean, I don't know why she would be dreaming that stuff anyway, unless as a Man in Black is trying to warn her, but why would he do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, that seems like a dead end to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like dead end / like classic Lost. Like, they do tell us what the Black Rock is, but like, then it's like, well, what are we supposed to do with this?
Yeah. What are we supposed to do with this? I don't know.
And then she just shows up, and it's like, I don't know. All that drama that supposedly happened right before this.
The Black Rock thing, maybe their idea ties into the white and the black rock or something like that, like the actual rock, like that duality of evil idea or whatever.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's why they chose that name.
Yeah, so her dream, like when she sees Locke with the different colored eyes, it's weird. What's weird is we see a dream, but this is not the dream he's talking about.
Right.
It'd be different if, like, in that dream, Locke was sitting on top of a black rock or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the crib was. Or the crib was next to a black rock or something. I mean, they never were. They're good at these dream things because they never quite make sense. That's what dreams do sometimes.
Yeah. She's not going to repeat the thing that we know happened. We just get this vague description of something that, I mean, I don't think she's lying, but at the same time, like, I don't know what they're trying to convey with that, except like what you're saying. Like, it's really just a relic of a different idea of the others and where Claire is and all that, like where the Black Rock isn't a ship anymore. It's this weird location that's literally a black rock outside, and the others are doing something to her there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some kind of like tribal thing or something.
And I guess it doesn't matter because she shows up, so.
Right.
Yeah, this episode was interesting because they brought back the thing about Rousseau and the black. I guess they're setting up. They're going to go find the Black Rock, right? So
yeah.
They're setting that up.
The map leads them there, so.
Yeah, with the map, he realizes what the map is, and they just kind of bring it up as a idea of where that might be where Claire is, which makes no sense, but.
Yeah, they kind of just put things together like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, I honestly forgot how much they focused in on Rousseau's maps.
Yeah.
Like, they've gotten a lot of...
It was the original Blastar map. It was like,
yeah.
Oh, look, there's some answers here. Here's someone who has time to map the island and find stuff. What do they have to say about all this craziness?
Yeah. And I mean, they really do find the Black Rock, so like there's some validity to what she's drawing there.
Yeah. Well, special, it's an okay episode. The Michael and Walt backstory is, only so interesting, and we've talked about how their story ends, so it makes it less interesting. And
yeah.
There's not any great dynamic in this part of their backstory, and it's really just Susan being awful the whole time.
Yeah.
And just step by step, like taking Walt away until, oops, she dies, and Michael is the only one who can, take care of him. So
yeah.
It's a cool setup for their characters, but it's, it's not the most enjoyable thing to rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird how, I guess, like, on a mystery show, things are just like this, but it's, like you pointed out how that scene where the bird flies into the door is like, it's like a scene from, like, Act 1 of a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of the end of that story thread.
Yeah.
Like, they never actually pick up on it. And even in this episode, like, we see that Michael was told by this guy that there's something weird about him, but I don't get the sense that he actually thinks there's something, that he actually is making a connection between, that and what's going on the island.
Yeah, they're laying little clues periodically that I think, they would have to come back to. They're slow playing it, just like Rousseau's map. How long, we learned about Rousseau's map. We see it that, he gets it in solitary.
Yeah.
And now we're just getting this little bit of detail about what's on the map that's going to lead us to the Black Rock. So it's like you can tell they're slow playing it. David says something's up with this kid, and we see the bird sing, and it's like, okay, the way Lost goes, in 5 or 6 episodes or next season, okay, we'll pick back up on that.
Right.
And they do. I mean, it ties into why the others take him.
True.
So it's like they're playing it out. It's just it doesn't really end.
But I feel like it never gets past that early stage.
Mm-hmm.
Where we find out more.
They never specify, right? They never explore what that really means. All we get, the best we ever get with Waldman's power is the webisode.
Right.
Was it Room 48 or whatever?
Room 23, yeah.
43, yeah. That's the best we get, and we never see anything. It's just we hear stuff, and we see Juliet say stuff about it.
Yeah, and it's the birds again, so it's really just like it's really just like, yeah, he was still doing that stuff he did before, but it was larger scale. Like there were more birds, So it's like, the others got freaked out, and they got rid of him just the way his stepdad did.
Yeah, I think Walt had some weird power, just like Hurley has a weird power, and what's his name? Miles has a weird power. Yeah, some people just have these strange powers that never get fully explained.
But I feel like Hurley's and Miles's were kind of more specified as to what they actually are. Whereas it seems like Walt's powers are just really vague. Like
Yeah. Well, they didn't explore his stuff at all.
Yeah.
He was off the show. I mean, if he had stayed on the show, I think he would have had time to explore that. And it would, because obviously the powers get explored when it gets becomes part of the story, right? When it becomes crucial. When Hurley can hear from a ghost XYZ, you can explore what it means when Hurley talks to dead people. When Miles can sense what people's last thoughts are, you get the sense of what his powers are when it's part of the story. And so it's like, yeah, Walt didn't get to stay on and get more story time, so they didn't explore what it really means. Could he only call birds?
Right. Exactly.
Is it anything he thinks he can make happen? Is it, we don't.
Yeah, like they insinuate more than that. I mean, the appearances to Shannon and the, Miss Clue says to Michael, has he ever appeared in some place he's not supposed to? And, there's the whole dream appearing to Lock in the Pit. I think that's Man in Black, actually, but I'll throw that in there. And and then finally the prophetic dream, and even the where he's committed to a mental institution because I don't know, he's going crazy thinking about what happened or something.
Yeah, I like a lot of aspects of what they were able to what they the theories that they make you think of, but they definitely didn't get to explore it. I wish they would have just kept him on and let him be weird, awkwardly tall for how much screen time he was on the show and just deal with it. Like I don't know how big a deal that would have been to an audience,
Yeah. I mean, it would have been pretty drastic because the time scale is really small in terms of the show. Like 4 years for them is like a few months.
Yeah.
So it was obviously noticeable because they kept commenting on it. But I do think they definitely blew it up. Like from the way the writers kept like every time you saw him, it was like he's tall, he's so tall. Like they definitely had it in their minds that like he's just way too tall.
Yeah.
We can't pretend like he's 9. But they also sort of got rid of Michael.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of the problem.
Oh, Michael.
But I thought, it's a decent episode. The polar bear attack is kind of an underwhelming climax. Like I don't really know what to do with that. But I like the cliffhanger, and I still think they're doing a good job. Like, here we get the introduction of the raft and, the Black Rock, and, they're doing a good job of sort of layering in these things that will become, bigger plot points later.
Yeah. Yeah, I was taken aback about how much Jack wasn't doing in this episode. He just takes the day off sometimes. And
he pretty much just sat around in the cave the whole episode. Yeah. He didn't really have anything to do with anything.
And, he didn't really comment on Michael's wanting to get off the island. He was just like,
whatever.
Yeah, I'll let the other people be detractors,
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I wonder, I feel like he should have wanted to, get on the raft or at least support it more.
I think, it seems like a total thing he would support. You're right. We should be actively trying to seek help and not just waiting and waiting.
Yeah, he's the one who later on, cuts a deal with the others to just, abandon them all, basically. He really does want to leave.
Yeah.
So it's,
That's the episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the next one?
I believe it is Homecoming.
Uh-oh.
Dealing with Claire's homecoming and Ethan's attempt to make her not come home.
Mm-hmm. So, if I'm remembering this correctly, or maybe it's the next time, when does Alex rescue her?
That's in maternity leave in season 2 when she actually remembers what happened.
Oh, that's right. That's when she remembers what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
So next episode she's going to come back and be like, I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember anything. Because they drugged her or something.
And we'll be left wondering, what they did to her.
Yeah. Now, before maternity leave, I remember, in my mind having some pretty wild speculation about what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Because the possibilities seem really wide open at this point, knowing, nothing about the others.
Yeah, exactly. It was I thought everything but what actually happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a weird, it's they muddle that whole thing because it's he wasn't supposed to take her and all that stuff, and it's just what? So he's operating on his own, but yet, all right, guys.
Yeah, I mean they wanted to monitor her because of the fertility problems, but he wasn't supposed to take her. He wasn't supposed to kidnap her at that point. And I think mainly just because he hadn't finished his list yet.
You didn't finish your list. No hobbies until you finish your list.
The tail section list got done fast. Goodwin was, on top of things, but
there was a lot less people.
That's true. He's got a point. I know he does.
Yeah. I'm barely convinced the others cared about the whole fertility thing at this point. They cared during Juliet's days, but they're having book club meetings right now. With my crashes. I don't know.
Yeah,
they were kind of done looking for the cure, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Juliet had failed, so to find a cure. So I think the story is when the survivors show up, they want to look for the pregnant ones to see, what the effect of the island will be on them to see if they can learn anything from it. It's new data.
Did they ever think maybe Jacob didn't want them to have kids?
If they did, they never mentioned it.
Maybe Jacob was like, no, I don't want the others to procreate.
That would have been nice to know. He could have mentioned that to Richard.
Well, could have mentioned a lot of things.
It's true. If I go down that road, it's a dead end.
There's only heartbreak.
Mhm. disappointment.
All right. Well, anything else on special?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's trying to think. How do I feel about this compared to? I guess it's on par with Hearts and Minds.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the stretch that was frustrating to me.
Yeah.
From whatever the case may be through this, I was like, okay, great, they have backstories. We got a plot now. I don't have time for this.
No time for backstories. You have a plot.
Like, too late, guys. If we don't know it now, it's, you can't do it. But, I mean, it makes sense. At the same time, I guess I wish that they had done more of what they did later, which was, advance the plot and do backstories.
They advanced the plot a whole bunch. They found maybe where a black rocket is.
Really?
Huge. No. They found Claire at the very last 5 seconds.
Yeah, I remember that whole gag, like, especially during season 2. It was like, just watch the last 5 minutes. That's where all the exciting stuff is.
Yeah.
But that's definitely what they did. And, like, when she comes out, I'm like, okay, hell yeah, next episode right now.
Mhm.
But I was interested in Walt. I mean, I did find that to be, something, a mystery that I thought, could have an interesting payoff.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I thought Locke made that dog whistle for Michael.
No. He used it himself, but he used it to bring Vincent back to Michael.
Oh, okay. I thought he gave it to Michael. But
yeah.
He got Vincent for Michael and gave Vincent to Michael?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it at the time. Like, he could have given the whistle to Michael, but he doesn't. He just uses it himself.
He's like, I whittled this. I'm keeping it.
Mm-hmm. It's mine. I whittle things.
The whittler. Not the Batman villain.
Right. Of course.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll be back next week with Homecoming.
Yay. Damon Lindelof's least favorite episode of Lost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'll get to find out why.
Can't wait.
Or will we?
Thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.